First of all, I disavow everything I'm about to say. No, this video is not for children. This content is for adults. Very immature adults. Adults who think most of the world is malarkey and balderdash. I want to apologize to Rose Tico, her fans, and unattractive lesbians, which is most of them. If it's any consolation, I also look like an unattractive lesbian. Click the links for more information or to support the channel. I punched in Star Wars into DuckDuckGo, and the first thing that came up is the Ewoks, and then everything else is 90% of it is the original 6 films. I'm sure if I punched it into Google, it would just be all Rose and Tico and Rey and Finn. You know, I feel like kind of a dummy for just thinking about this, but maybe Star Wars should have followed the story of Finn. He was a soldier for the New World Order. He escapes to switch sides. Actually, all the characters were better than Rey. The story could have focused on Finn and Poe. Rey could have been the love interest. If you want to make her a Jedi, fine. But the less the movies focused on her, the better. People just are not interested in watching a woman run around playing a man. Why not just use a man in that role? Have her and Poe hook up. I know in the woke world of Disney, they would hook her up with Finn and make her a single mom. That joke might be too woke for YouTube. I don't know. Or maybe hook her up with Rose Tico. Maybe they could just scissor her or something. Rose Tico actually would make a great lesbian. First of all, she's really ugly, and that goes a long way in that community. The more I think about it, Rey was so obviously shoehorned into the movie. Hey, Hollywood degenerates. Men and women do not want to see women in the role of the adventure hero. Oh, but we need to subvert expectations and challenge gender roles. No, you don't need to subvert expectations. You need to tell a good story. It is brutally hard to write an entertaining book or movie. If you think being entertaining is easy, try this experiment. Make a YouTube channel. Try to be entertaining. It is really, really hard. Even if people watch your channel, it doesn't mean much. A lot of people just use YouTube as a background noise. I do. I leave YouTube in the background on almost all day, even if the volume's off. I just dip in to say my stupid aloha and move on. Try getting people to buy your merchandise or send you $1 on Patreon or Subscribestar. Writing a story that people enjoy is one thing. Writing a story that people will pay for is something else entirely. My point is, with this subverting expectations and trying to challenge people and all that kind of horse feathers, if Rian Johnson and the other guy, JJ, were master storytellers, master craftsmen at the top of their game, maybe they could try to do something like that. But they're not. Oh, but they've made billion-dollar movies. That doesn't make them master storytellers. Because there's no way to look at The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and say these are good movies. Yeah, first one made $2 billion, second one did $1.3 billion. That's a bad sign. But no, they're not amazing films. The Transformers films made a lot of money, and you know what? Honestly, the Transformer films were probably better films than Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars. Because the Transformers films, they told a basic, simple story made for China with a lot of explosions, but it had a point. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And Star Wars didn't tell a story; it told propaganda. They had to artificially force things together. And if you start to scrutinize The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. The plot and the character development, you look at it, it immediately falls apart. None of it makes sense. Just to interject, I was listening to Smiller on his YouTube channel, and he said again how he liked Luke's arc in The Last Jedi. I'm starting to wonder if Roundhead and Big Nose have worked some hypnotism on him. Hollywood loves youth. I get that. They are degenerate. See James Gunn. But I would rather see the original Han, Luke, and Lando than Rey, Finn, and Poe. Carrie Fisher, she probably should have been replaced. She's been out of the acting game for way too long. Harrison Ford has been acting for 60 years, I think. And What's-His-Face has been doing voiceovers. They were both excellent. But Fisher has had a long history of mental illness and drug use. We should just have remembered her as she was in the original trilogy. I don't know who a good replacement for Fisher would have been. Maybe they could have just said she died years ago on some mission. I would rather see three guys in their 70s. And maybe if you wanted to switch things up a bit, swap the roles of Kylo and Ren. Actually, I like that idea because you could have Luke training Kylo. Rey would be the evil Sith equivalent who is trying to win Kylo over to the dark side. She could be the evil Sith Lord. Imagine her with Darth Maul makeup, or in Queen Amidala's makeup, whatever, so something fancy from the prequels. She could be the evil female temptress who could use her feminine wiles to sexually entice Kylo to her dark side. Wink, wink. Maybe Kylo could tame her out of her wicked ways and show her that her place is by his side, pregnant and making sandwiches. I imagine the poster of Kylo holding the lightsaber and Rey at his feet. Maybe he would need to give her a few spankings to set her straight. Feminists would walk out of the theater, and the Twitter outrage from triggered teenage girls would be glorious. But the movie would be a better movie and make more money. Okay, I exaggerate a little bit, but you get the idea. The male protagonist on the hero's journey, the bad girl, some romance, it is a classic story. Oh, but we want to subvert expectations. Then do something like what they did in the original trilogy. You assume that Luke and Leia were going to hook up, but she turns out to be his sister, so she and Han hook up. Now that I think about it, making Han and Leia be split up, they're kind of divorced, is kind of degenerate. It's just more cultural Marxist propaganda to destroy the family. It doesn't even fit the Star Wars narrative to have a divorced couple. If Star Wars is just about space wizards, it's for kids, man, babies, then why would you have a divorced family? Star Wars is just a fantasy for kids, so why not have a happy family? Because it's Disney and they are controlled by dirty rat commie globalists. If you look at who controls Disney now, it's all a bunch of pizza-eating kitty diddlers whose only goal is to have trans drag queens in your kid's preschool. You know that meme with the obese religious woman waving her flabby arms around and screaming for demons to get out? That is me right now. I am looking for a tinfoil hat because I am 2010 Britney Spears or Alex Jones pretty much all the time. Many of the things that seem like crazy conspiracy theories, they are turning out to be true because it is a very, very strange world full of jokers. In a sane universe, Han and Leia would have been happy up until her untimely death. Luke is training Kylo, and Luke and Kylo do battle against Rey and Snoke, but Rey and Kylo are finding reasons to go easy on each other, while Luke and Snoke try to kill each other. You could have the four of them start off fighting together, then Rey and Kylo kind of get separated, and they slowly sort of lose the will to fight and start making goo-goo eyes at each other. Maybe they could sense in the Force that they were meant for each other. If it was fan fiction, I'd go a step further, and you could have them off camera. Then as Luke and Snoke do battle, they could fight their way around a corner and find Kylo and Rey kissing. I know that would be a little too teeny bopper cutesy cute, but still, almost anything is better than Disney Star Wars. The bizarre hubris of Roundhead and Big Nose. They had a great property, and they totally blew it. Think of how they handled women in the original and the prequels. They had their moments to shine, but it wasn't pure nonsense girl power. Even in the original 6, you had women and colored people of color, but it was smooth. It was still the guy going on the quest to fight the dragon and win the princess. This is a shot from The New Hope. Look, you've got women, laser gun, his dog, Luke, not even holding a lightsaber. Admittedly, you don't have Lando, and that was, you probably should have included him, but it was 1977, things were different. I probably would have put Lando in the first movie, just as kind of a teaser to let you know that he's coming up in the second and third movie. Like have him do something where they do a flash to Cloud City, and there's a little premonition of him watching the Empire land their ships or something, and he's talking to another guy, just so you see that Lando is in A New Hope somewhere, because it just lets kids know that he's coming up, that there's going to be a black guy for the black kids to check out. Anyway, having Rey Mary Sue take the guy's role is just silly. The majority of the audience does not want to see a chick in that role. So why are they selling us something that we don't want? Why are they virtue signaling to a minority of the audience? Doesn't anyone stop and ask what the F is going on with this? Because usually businesses give the customer what they want. They're pushing propaganda, not simply trying to make fun entertainment. They think they know what is good for you better than you. Except nobody seems to talk about it. It's this weird open secret that people just accept about Hollywood. You ever just stop and think, hey, F Hollywood. F those Woody Allen degenerates right in the A. I would switch Rey and Kylo because you can't have Luke train Rey. In a realistic world, Luke would be banging Rey to fill her with the essence of Jedi. How do you think little Jedis are made? And when the feminards whine and kvetch about the age differences, remind them that love is love, and love has no age. That's why once you start thinking about Luke training Rey, the story falls apart right there. There's no way they wouldn't be banging. Think of the super Jedi babies she could pump out. If they really wanted to make Twitter lose its freaking mind, have them hook up, get married, and go fight Sith together. Or maybe Luke is already married, so he takes Rey as a second wife. Whatever. The story obviously works better with Luke training Kylo. That's probably one of the reasons girls don't go out and become Jedi warriors. Once they meet their instructor, they're getting pregnant. Hard to be a Jedi when there are diapers to change. So make Kylo the Jedi who has to go and win Rey over from the dark side. Which they would never do because they have an agenda to push. They need to change gender roles. But as I just explained, there are gender roles for a reason. Men have a habit of banging pretty young girls, or at least trying to. It's what perpetuates the species. We can only thank God that Kylo is too ugly for Luke to bang. Is anyone actually looking forward to Rise of Skywalker? Guys, she picked up thousands of tons of rock after a few days of training. Even Luke and Vader never did anything close to that. She managed to be a master swordsman with no training at all. Oh, but she was raised on a... Listen, I don't care if being raised on a desert planet. She might learn how to swing her quarterstaff thing. But a sword is an entirely different movement. That takes years and decades of training to learn how to use a sword. Most people have never even held a sword in their lives. It's just not like... The only closest analog would be an axe. We all know how to use axes because we all grew up using axes. But a sword, no, most of us have never even seen a sword. And much less a lightsaber, which is probably a whole different method of sword fighting because it's... I mean, the training with a lightsaber's got to be really, really dangerous. Anyway, she's everything she did, she picked up. Oh, she's an expert at it. Are you going to explain that in Star Wars number 9? Probably not. You probably can't explain it. In the first 2 movies, she should have had her ass kicked by Kylo. He should have toyed with her and only let her live because he didn't take her seriously as an opponent. But she should have definitely have lost her hand. It's kind of a Star Wars tradition. She would need her friends to rescue her. Have Han's dog, Finn and Poe, they could show up in the Falcon. They could use its cannons to fight off Kylo while they rescue Rey. I get it that the main character has to win, but good grief. Look at the original trilogy. Use it as your guide. Luke or Rey have to win in the end, but you don't need to make it easy for them. They have to struggle and overcome obstacles. Have it set up that Rey and Poe are going to hook up, but subvert expectations by having Poe hook up with Rose instead, but maybe get an actor that isn't so damn ugly. Knowing Disney, Finn, Poe, and Rey would have a pan-poly-degenerate relationship with plenty of mixed-race kids. No, leave out the single mom joke. One single mom joke with Finn is probably too much. Something about Finn, chasing after Finn for child support. Yeah, this is Star Wars. These 2 dudes, those 2 dudes, R2 and C-3PO, those are Star Wars. Rogue One was pretty good. Less of the agenda, and they all died in the end. I'd like to see Rey and Rose Tico get killed in the film in Star Wars 9. Somehow I don't think that will happen. Solo, not good. Not bad. Not as bad as people made it. Not as bad as... It did not deserve to bomb. No, definitely not. But... The Last Jedi was so bad that it... Han Solo, with a lot of makeup on. Carrie Fisher with even more makeup. Finn holding a lightsaber. Stop. With the Finn holding... Some Australian girl nobody cares about. More cute robots. More toys nobody cares about. You have a guy wearing a mask, but he doesn't need to wear a mask. Vader needed a mask because he was sick. So on the X-Wings, they changed the colors from red to blue because it's something to do with the Democrats and Republicans or something. Nobody bought Phasma. I guess that's Poe. I don't know. Do you remember? Hey, where's Luke? Isn't there supposed to be Luke in here? The Emperor? I don't know. This is such a disappointment. But I will. Hey, even Darth Maul was better. I probably will be seeing it in the theaters just because I want to see how bad it is, and I want to talk about it. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. You can click the links in the description. Send me emails. Support the channel. I thank the people who have donated. It's amazing that someone will pay me to be an asshole on YouTube, which is I would be an asshole for free, but it's nice to get paid for it. All right, guys, I will see y'all next episode.